Well, salutations to the kindred spirits. I am home. I am home from the Carolinas. We were at the Carolina Close Up Convention, and I thought today we could spend some time recapping this event, but instead, check this out. My good friend Kevin Lepine is doing something cool. And I said, hey, Kevin, how would you like to come on my little shizzle on the YouTubes and talk about what you're doing? And then I can postpone some of these things I had planned today for another live. So I'm thinking this weekend I do a bonus live and we talk about some of the interesting things that are crossing my desk. But not today. Today we're welcoming live from Las Vegas, headliner, special spirit, good friend of mine, folks, kindred spirits. Say hello to Kevin Lepine.
Hello, everyone. And Doug, thank you so much. For those of you who don't know, Doug and I actually go back, and this is almost hard to say, but 22 years.
You did the math. I started thinking
Yeah.
about it. I guess I was like, it's got to be 20 years.
Yep. Yeah. 2000,
Man,
I moved down to New Orleans from Detroit in 2001.
I was reflecting today, like how special my life is to have so many cool people in my over that have gone to do great things, and you are certainly one of them, Kevin. As
Thank
you
you.
call Las Vegas home now. You've
Yep.
we'll talk a little more about our past, but I want to just
Yes.
put the shine on you for just a moment.
Thank you.
You did the hard work. You left the Big Easy. When did you leave New Orleans?
Okay. So here's the horrible way that I know when I moved to New Orleans and when I left. I moved to New Orleans a week after 9/11, and Katrina kicked me out.
That's a good time,
Those
man.
tho those horrible bookends are the bookends for just one of the greatest times in my life, though. Hey, Tom, it's good to see you on here.
Tom Britton in the house?
Yep.
There he is.
Yes,
I
he
see
is.
him.
Freak
Let's say
show and
hello
tell.
to look at all the kindred spirits. Yeah, Phoenix is here. Let's say thank you to Matthew Mosley for subscribing 13 months. Michael, good to see you as well. And Jeff.
Tom is,
John,
so freak show and tell is, a part of multiple chapters in the book.
yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Tom as well. Let me just surmise what you're doing in Vegas right now, and then
Yes.
we'll hit the rewind button.
Great.
And so, like, what are you doing today? Like, what did you do
Ooh.
today?
So, Doug and I talked a little bit about before the show, I vaguely slept last night, and, because my book officially went on sale. This is it. This is the story of my life. Deep into my eyes from victim to Vegas headliner. And when I woke up this morning, I am still thanking God, pinching myself, and thanking everybody who has supported me in all these endeavors. I woke up to find out that I am the number one new release in hypnosis books, and I am on the number three bestseller in the hypnosis category.
Number one,
Yes, it
baby.
is. It is unbelievable
So
to
deep
me.
into
It
my
is.
eyes is
Yes.
it's a like an autobiography
Yes.
biography
It's a
situation.
combination. It's an autobiography. Um, and the cover of it really does. So when I saw this cover, I actually had to when I saw the picture that I used for the cover, I actually had to buy the picture because as soon as I saw that picture, I finally knew how I wanted to tell my story. Because my story talks a lot about how I went from being very victimized and abused as a child into becoming who I am now, which and part of that is the fact that I've been a headliner in Vegas now for 13
Are you
years.
kidding me? Has it been that long?
13 years.
Wow,
But the
man.
picture,
How do you even do that?
um,
Do you still
you
like it?
just don't stop doing it. You just keep going.
I mean,
I I do.
you gotta just love it, right?
I do. And I'm fortunate because my show requires a lot of improv. I mean, I'm doing a hypnosis show, so I'm working with different people every day. I have no idea what's going to walk up on my stage. So I always have to be on my toes. I always have to be prepared for, what's going to happen and why it's going to happen. because you never know the insanity that's going to come at you.
Yeah, I was over poking around, because I know that I like your jam, but I'm
Mhm.
jaded. I'm a friend, right? So I
True.
went over there poking around the reviews. Where am I here? TripAdvisor. Seems like the people
Yep.
like you pretty good. You got a couple of
It's
800 good reviews, and
oh
one of
yeah.
the things people mention is that the show is one you can see again and again because of the things you just mentioned,
Yep.
the
Yes, it's
variety, the
always going to be
improv.
different. What I love is that I get to bring out the star in somebody. That's what's made the show so different. And I mean, Tom, who is on here with us, Tom was one of the people who really helped first direct the show. He was one of the first to really go, all right, what do you want to say in your show? And I went, well, most hypnosis shows I've seen boil down to I'm a jerk and I'm going to make you look like an idiot. I want to say I've got something fun and interesting to share with you. And if you walk up here on stage, I'll make you look like a superstar. And Tom was one of the first people to go, oh, yeah, we can do that. And I mean, now Tom and I traveled around the country,
Well,
3 months at a time, multiple times. And he really helped. He really helped bring that all in.
this would be a good time to hit the rewind button because this is
Yeah.
when
Let's
I
go
met
back.
you with this man,
Yes.
Tom Britton, who has graced this very YouTube over
Hmm.
before, the Freak Show and Tell show. We've talked to Tom here. So, yeah, let's rewind. Was it in Warpos, Amazed and Amused, that we were all
No,
saying hi to
nope.
each other?
I will I will tell you the story from my perspective. You can tell it from yours, and if Tom wants to type into the chat, he's welcome to do the same.
Maybe
From
Warpo will tune in. I don't know. He's probably not awake yet, actually. It's
fair
only
enough.
4 o'clock.
Yeah. It's time for his siesta. Um, I remember walking into Big Easy Magic Company, and you were there, and
Oh, I
Tom
would
was
be
there.
there. That was
Yep,
partially my establishment.
yeah,
It was the French Quarter, a magic shop that I owned with Mark Faulkner.
yep,
We
and
made
that was
many good
on
things
yep,
there.
right on Dumaine,
So this
and
is
that was
post Warpo then. Okay, continue.
yep, yeah, this is post Warpo, and I want to say Tom was working part-time in the store or helping out the store. And from my perspective,
That's so
Tom and I
crazy.
just started talking. And he had just gotten done with his run with the Modern Gypsies and he was looking to do something different. I had just gotten into town to do my show and to do stuff with the ghost tour companies. And he and I, I mean, a lot of times, and this is something I talk about in the book, because the book is not only about how I grew past certain negative things in my life, it's about how I built a community that's constantly helped elevate me. A lot of times when you see performers walk into a magic store, you watch them start to pee on the furniture and get really, 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 oh, this is mine. This is me. You see these egos. Tom and I didn't have any of that. Tom and I just like immediately went, oh, you did this? Oh, that's cool. Oh, well, what about this? Oh, and we just started talking and growing. Now, from my perspective, what I remember about a week later is you going, oh, yeah, as soon as you and Tom started talking, I just saw money written all over the two of you because
I'm
you
over
could
here
immediately,
doing the math. I think I deserve a cut of your
yeah.
success. I think I
you,
deserve a percentage,
mhm.
maybe.
Oh, yeah, you were where we first met and started growing.
Curious
And
of
then,
curious is the shop mentioned in the book?
I don't know if the shop is mentioned by name, but the situation is
All right.
because I
Tom's
talk
in
about
there,
meeting
right? You
Tom
said
and then,
Tom's got like a chapter in the book.
yep. Because then, I mean, Tom and I started doing the ghost tours together, and neither of us wanted to tour. We were happy being in New Orleans,
Okay.
but
Tom's cutting me out. He said I wasn't the only one.
but he and I just started, goofing around going, what would be fun would be to tour colleges. Well, if
Yeah.
we're gonna tour colleges, not that we're going to, but if we're gonna tour colleges, it'd be fun to do it this way. Well, if we were gonna tour colleges and we were gonna do it this way, then it would be even more fun to do it like that. And then the next thing you know, we're on the road 6 months a year, every year touring colleges and having a blast.
And this was the Flying Cat Circus
Flying Cat Circus.
show,
We
and it was you
originally
and
started,
Tom and a third.
yep,
Um,
we rotated the third person so that
mhm,
we could have different people in the show
yep.
and bring different, different stuff to it. Plus, when you're on the road, as long as Tom and I were on the road together, you just want somebody new. You want to hear new stories.
Oh yeah, right.
And yeah,
So
we started under the horrible name of Freakin' Magic because it was a combination of sideshow and magic. And
Yeah.
the idea behind the show was, what if Monty Python wrote Jim Rose's show? What if instead of it being something that was gross and shock, what if it was something that was fun and drew you in?
I love hearing that that it's important to get that point of view about the experience that you're going to deliver to an audience, right?
If you don't understand who your audience is, if you don't understand what you want your audience to feel, one thing that I talk about when I talk to performers is your show ends when people are in the car driving home talking to each other about it. So what do you want them to say?
That's so good.
Knowing what you want them to say, how do you orchestrate your show to get that across? And who do you want your audience to be? Because when you say, well, I want my audience to be everybody, no one shows up. When
Yeah.
you say, I want my audience to be this specific group, then you can target to that group, you can market to that group, you can advertise that group, and you can perform to that group. And that's how you grow. And then once you become in a lot of groups, it's easier to become infamous than famous. But once you become infamous enough in a group, that group will introduce you to other groups. And that's when you grow to more of a mainstream level.
Testify. And
And
harkening back to
yeah.
surrounding yourself with supportive people and interesting, that can make good choices to bringing these things to life is certainly
hmm
helpful.
and when I go through my career and I look at all the different people who were just willing to give advice, were willing to take time, were willing to show me something. And that's really been the secret to a lot. And I've been fortunate. I've toured colleges across the country. I started off in punk rock bars in Detroit. I actually started before that doing birthday parties for kids'
Yeah. What were
birthdays.
you doing pre-New Orleans? Is this what your pre-New Orleans
So,
stuff?
okay, so
Fa-
pre New Orleans,
Yeah.
I started performing the day before my 17th birthday.
Yeah.
I was 16. I was picked up by an entertainment company, and I was the purple dinosaur at your little brother's birthday
Ooh, I'm
because for
getting the
legal reasons
heebie-jeebies.
we did yeah, but for legal reasons we did not have Barney. We had the purple dinosaur. I was my first show. I was the a karate turtle at a birthday party, and I made $40 for an hour, which was as much as I made in a week working at Little Caesars at
Yeah,
the
baby.
time. So I'm
Doing
like, you know
theater.
what? This is what I do now.
I'm doing theater for a living.
And but I mean, you learn stuff when you're performing parties in people's houses. But it was, doing those house parties that got me into doing some clown work because I wanted to do more parties. And that got me into magic. And magic took off for me for many years.
So
Um,
before Hypnotist
yep.
Kevin existed, it was Magician Kevin.
Magician Kevin the
Mm.
Uncanny.
Kevin, oh, that's right. Kevin the
Yep.
Uncanny. I remember
Yes.
that name. That's
And I
right.
was all over the Detroit area doing nightclubs, doing everything. It's funny, Jeff McBride and Jeff, who I talk about in the book, who has helped me with a number of things.
Kevin casually name dropping. I've had
Uh,
Kevin knows everyone in Vegas, right? Like,
well,
but
but
yeah.
Jeff and I have talked about this because so I was doing a bunch, the smaller corporate events. I was doing all of that. So I was doing stuff where I was making money, but I was also doing, nightclub gigs for $50. And nobody could understand why I'd want to put in all this work to do these. And to quote, or not to quote, to paraphrase Jeff McBride, there was a time when Jeff said he was doing in New York like 25 shows in a week for $300. And people were going, oh, yeah, well, why would you bother to do that? I make $300 for one show. And in Jeff's words, his words are, and you know what? They still are. And,
You know,
Jeff's perspective and my perspective was I wanted to be out there learning. I wanted to
that's the
grow. I
thing.
wanted to
Get those
do, I
reps,
wanted,
man.
yes,
Hmm.
push your boundaries, get in front of that crowd, learn, I wanted to make them laugh. Laughter's real. They either laugh or they look at you like you're a moron. And you've got to fight when you're starting to get those laughs. And you got to do the reps. Everybody wants to look like a bodybuilder. No one wants to lift heavy things.
I'm sure we can find some laughter here.
Oh, wait, you know what? Actually, go up just a little bit. I'll
Hold
name
on.
drop.
I made a mistake. Hold on, hold
Yep.
on.
Go up a little bit, and I will name drop for a second. Okay, right there. The I'm pointing to my screen like that's gonna help. The picture in the middle, the guy in the hat.
Over here?
Yep, that is Dickie Barrett from the Mighty Mighty Bosstones.
Oh, well,
Dickie
that's
was
fun. I
Yep,
did
Dickie
see that
was
you were at a punk rock Hall of
yes,
Fame. Is that
we
where
have
you
a
were?
punk rock museum in Las Vegas. They brought Dickie in to be a special tour guide, and Dickie invited my wife and I on tour. I met Dickie when I was 17 years old at a Mighty Mighty Bosstone show. I was doing magic for a couple of friends. He saw me. He's like, "What was that?" Because the Bosstones were always walking around talking with fans. Always. They never hung out backstage.
Look, I've got to
And
wrangle you back into magic
yeah.
and hypnosis before you go talking about punk rock for.
Well, wait. What? 1 second, and then bring me back.
Okay.
But Dickie and I developed a friendship. We would talk whenever he was in town, and this was another part of building a community. Was here was somebody who achieved and would achieve more coolness than I will ever have in my life. Because fronting a punk rock band will always be cooler than being a
Yeah,
hypnotist.
you're right there.
But he was somebody who always helped me, gave me guidance, and
Yeah,
was willing. And and I want to point out that while we are in a punk rock museum, I am wearing the band of my favorite T-shirt, the Electric Mayhem from the
fantastic.
Muppets.
That's fantastic.
But I would have never met Dickie had it not been for magic.
So how do you make the transition from doing magic to putting people to sleep?
So
Turn your magic on.
Or loud.
It's everything you want to dream away.
Let's do it that way.
yep. So and that's my beautiful wife up there with me. That's Emily. And so for me, so the costume characters, I've been doing plays in high school, so the costume characters got me into magic. Magic got me into sideshow. Doing sideshow, I started to meet some hypnotists, and they went, "With your personality, you should look into this." I got enrolled in the course for social workers because that was the only place I knew at the time to learn. This is pre-internet, really, so I didn't have the advantage of it
Oh
all.
yeah, back in the old day
Yep.
when you had to work for knowledge.
Well, also back in the old days when hypnotists didn't want to teach you to be a hypnotist because they were making too much money and they were afraid of losing their spot to you.
Yeah, right.
You really had to carve out that niche on your own, and thankfully we've evolved past that now.
By the
But
way,
then,
we
yeah.
have to talk about big time wrestling at
Oh
some point, but
yeah,
we'll save that for later.
yes, definitely, most definitely. But
You
I
do a wrestling skit in the show. You have a wrestling. I've
yes,
seen it.
yep, yeah, I've
Where's
got a
the
few of them now.
yeah? So there's the theater, right? There you are,
Yep,
killing
that's
it.
the Four Queens.
Yeah. And what is your schedule at the Four Queens?
We are Tuesday through Saturday at 9 p.m. We follow an amazing 7 o'clock show that everybody also needs to see, which is comedy magician Mike Hammer.
Mike
And
Hammer. Yeah, of
oh,
course. I've heard great things about Mike. Haven't seen his show yet, but guess what? The
amazing
number one
show.
magic show I'm seeing next time I'm
Yep,
there.
amazing magic show. Amazing comedian. Great human being. Um, he's responsible for me being able to come to the Four Queens. He helped create that through our friendship, and the only investment Mike has in my show is our friendship. And yet Mike has stuck around on many nights to watch my show and help direct me. And he's helped me tighten this up and tighten that up. And if you know anything about performers, Mike and I, just like Tom and I used to do, we would have we will have 2-hour conversations about a sentence. Like seriously, how do you say the sentence? Is there a comma? Is there a pause? Is there a look? How do we fix this sentence?
And this is when people are, talk to me about their acts and they're like, my act's good, or like I'm bored with my thing. I'm like, have you considered the pause between the words? Because if you haven't thought
So
about that, you're not done.
a
You know?
buddy of mine, Tobias, who used to work on Broadway,
Yeah.
he told me something from Broadway rehearsals that's brilliant.
Do tell.
And what actors will say or what directors will say is, this part of the play is dragging. What should we do? Oh, slow it down.
Wow.
Because the reason it's dragging is because people aren't understanding it. And I mean, So many of us here on this thread right now can quote Warpo, who always has the same 2 words of advice for every human being ever. Slow
Slow
down.
down.
And he's never been wrong.
And in fact, that's often my mantra as I go to work on most days to present my magic, because I know it's a problem of mine. I just say, slow down, Doug, slow
Yep.
down. And when I'm
And
able to do that, the show's always better.
and maybe you want laughter in your show, but undoubtedly if you're performing at all, you want applause.
Yeah.
But applause and laughter only happens in silence.
Mm.
Only happens in those pauses.
Yeah.
Because if you have a great moment of magic, and here's something I've always believed when it comes to magic, the trick is an effect. The emotional reaction to the effect is real.
Yeah.
If you deliver something and there's an emotional reaction, and that emotional reaction makes you go, you need that second go before you're able to go.
Yeah, I
If
am
you
I
say
am at a
something
point
really,
where I'm disinterested in anything that does not have emotional appeal to the person watching it. Like,
yes,
if you and I mentioned at the beginning of the show how I was at Tricks convention. I was so inspired by so many great performers, and I got to see some great lectures on such subjects. Watching Rob Zabrecki talk about
oh
character
yeah,
development. Oh my God. He spoke for an
and
hour on
an
acting and
audience,
producing a show. And
an audience can't exactly put their finger on this, and they can't tell you why what I'm about to tell you is 100% fact. But 100% fact is the audience knows if you're being insincere. They know if your character isn't
yeah,
sincere.
I
They
believe
know
that.
if what you're doing. They may not be able to put their finger on it and specifically say that wasn't sincere, but they know if it's not real. They know if it's not authentic. If it's authentic, if it's sincere, you'll get that bonding, you'll get that emotional reaction. If you don't, and if anybody has questions, as Doug and I are talking, please jump in, ask
Yeah, bring
questions.
it up. This is the time to get the real
I
work.
will answer anything I can. I have done corporate events all around the world, comedy clubs, colleges, personal events. I've been headlining in Vegas. Ask
Here-
anything you want. I will
Here's a
answer the best
question.
I can.
What about this thing? Is this available?
So that is currently not on the market right now.
The Kevin
Um,
Lepine's portable flamethrower from Magic
yes.
Kevin days. Where
Yep.
was this an illusionist product? Do I remember
No,
correctly?
that was not through Illusionist. That was just through me. Although Murphy's really got behind the product, and I'm very thankful to
Oh,
them.
okay. All right.
And here's the beauty about community is I released that product for a little while.
Yeah.
I moved to Las Vegas and I immediately met somebody in Las Vegas who went, "Oh,
I
you're the
think I
Kevin
know who you're
Lepine with
going to
the
talk about.
portable
He's one of my
flamethrower."
favorites.
And I went, "Yeah, I am." He goes, "I bet we could make that better." The one and only Bizarro.
Yeah, baby.
And one of my dearest
Bizarro.
friends out here, I know plenty of magicians. I don't know very many people on the face of the earth who can just make magic the way that Bizarro can just make
Doesn't
magic.
he
He
use
is,
that prop? Doesn't he do
yes,
the
yes.
yeah?
That's not
Fire.
the one that comes out of his zipper, though. The one
Oh,
out of the zipper is totally different.
oh, all right. All right.
Um, he is he is one of the few magicians I've ever met who, if you go up to him and go, "All right, I want to create an effect. I want the effect to do this." He's the only magician I've ever met who will never go, "You can't do that." He's the only magician I've ever met who'll go, "Okay, it's going to start off complicated as shit, but within a few generations it'll work." And he will find a way to make it. He is such a brilliant mind.
Let's put the shine on these fellas for a little bit, because they're doing cool stuff. And
Yeah. Yep. Bizarro is the one in the red hat
whoops,
and the green tape.
whoops. There we go.
Yep. He
Yeah,
is in the show
Bizarro's on the
Link
left.
Magic. Yep.
And who else we have here?
You got
Is that
Lefty.
Levkovich?
Yep. You got Lefkovich. You got John Shaw, who does the sideshow stuff in it. You got Shocker in there,
Yeah, we
who
love the
is
Shocker.
yep. And they just picked up Holly England for this run.
Fantastic. And these
Yep.
guys are at the Orleans right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you want to go see what Bizarro's doing and company, that's where you see it. All right, so that's because I kind of wrap these things up in a half hour. I knew we were going to plow through
Yeah.
this, and we can
Oh,
go
yeah.
long if you're comfortable. But I know this.
I am totally comfortable going long. If you
But
end up
look,
wanting to
man, I
break
know
this
that
into
you have
2
a show
30 minutes, I'm
tonight.
good.
You've been up promoting this book all day. I know you had a thing
Whatever.
before. Kevin has unlimited
I'll
energy.
sleep next week.
All right.
I-
But
I-
here was the
especially
thing.
especially if people have questions in the comments, ask away.
I have a question because right
Yes.
before the stream, you were like, "Hey, Doug, I could talk about this Tommy Wonder production when I
Oh,
used
yeah.
to do magic. No one does it. They might. So could you do that for us?
Yes.
And then talk
So
about it?
since we have a number of magicians, this
Y'all are
was
in for
always
a
one of
treat.
my this was and sorry, it's been a long time since I've done anything for a camera. So this is actually one of my favorite productions. And what I like about this production is it's a production that you can do at eye level, so people are actually paying attention to you as you
Nice.
are producing a card or a series of cards.
Yeah, this
And
could
this
be just a single strong
Yep,
production or 4 aces. Look how
yep,
pretty this is. And like you said, there's your face.
yes. So I love it because it's chest
Oh,
level, face level, eye level, wherever you want to do it. You don't have to be looking downward. And it's actually, for as pretty as it is a very, very, very simple production. So I'm going to ask you a dumb question, Doug. Do you have a deck
okay.
of cards near you?
Let me see if I can find one.
Perfect. So do me a favor, grab a couple of the aces, put them on the top of the deck.
All right. I always like to credit and suggest people where they learn this stuff. Where did you learn this?
I
And
learned this from Tommy Wonder, and he did tell me it was in one of the books of wonder.
so you learned it from Tommy Wonder himself.
Yes.
I
Yep.
hate you, and you're going to have to leave the show now, and we're not friends anymore. Man, one of the great sadnesses of my life is that I never shook that man's hand. He's my favorite of all time.
And
I have a
I
lot of
gotta-
influences and like idols, but Tommy Wonder did it better than anyone.
There
Would
was
you
there was a
agree?
magic convention I was at as an attendee where and you'll never believe this one, but Billy McComb was the guest speaker. Tommy Wonder was there. Chad Long was there. Um, Dale Selwick.
Old
Tom
school.
Burgoon. Tom Burgoon.
Oh,
was
baby,
at that
Tom
one.
Burgoon.
Yeah.
He's
I
a guy a lot of people
yeah.
don't know about, but should.
Oh God, yeah.
He's hilarious.
A level of brilliance in that room that was unbelievable. So you got your 4 aces. They
Look,
go
I'm going to
on the top
highlight
of the
you and
deck.
follow along, all
Yep.
right? Because I want to get
Perfect.
this on the screen.
Yep. So here's the top of the deck has the 4 aces on it.
Okay, all right.
So all you're doing is you're separating them. So you've got your top half.
Yeah,
Top half has your ace.
okay.
All you're doing, this is so hard to do it for a camera because I haven't done it for a while, is all you're doing is threading the top half of the top of the deck in.
So it's like a pharaoh shuffle, like a butt weave.
Yeah,
We're calling it a
bad
butt
pharaoh.
weave. A
There you
butt
go.
weave.
Yep, a very, very, very bad pharaoh shuffle.
Okay.
Then all you're doing is you're pushing that top card
Yeah,
about halfway.
right.
So that way what it can do is you move, it's going to pivot between your finger and your thumb.
Yeah. You can't see it, but I'm doing it.
Yep, it's
And I can't click the
that
mouse because I'm
simple.
doing it.
All it is you're just feathering. Okay, I'll use the word feathering. You're just feathering the top card into that bottom part of the deck.
Push it
Kicking it-
over.
Yep, kicking it about halfway over and then letting it pivot between your thumb and your finger. Just like that.
Dude, that's
It's-
accessible, strong,
Yeah.
visual.
It is
Thank
so
you.
Lori!
Lori Cole's here. The Warpo spawn is in the house. What's up, Lori?
Hey, love, it is always beautiful to see you.
She's right around the corner from you over in the Arizonas.
Yes, she
Yeah.
hasn't made it down to Vegas yet, but she will.
Man, what a stream this has been. Let me see if we got any questions, and if we don't, you guys are doing it wrong.
Yeah, ask anything you want to know about, whether it's about performing in Vegas, whether it's about booking different clubs, different event, whatever you
I've
want.
got another question since no one
Yes.
else is asking. So if I go to Magic Live next week, can I stay on your couch or in your
Yeah.
kitchen or in the tub?
Yeah. Is
Locking this down live on YouTube.
is that next week already?
No, it's next August. I'm coming
Oh,
next
good.
August.
Okay.
Look,
Okay.
at any given time, I could show up in Vegas because I just
At
dying
any
to
given
get back
time, you are always welcome to show up in Vegas. I'd love to have you
to
here.
Jonesing to get back to that
Yeah,
city. You know,
you know, between me and Biz, we would love to have you here all the time.
I would just love to live there, and maybe just this. Maybe I carve out 6 months of my life where I just go there and get a little apartment and do everything.
So it's a weird town, but
You don't say.
let me explain the beauty of the weirdness of this town. If so, anybody watching, if you come to Vegas, there is one sentence that will doom you. And I've watched it doom thousands of people. And the sentence is, do you know who I am? Because it's Vegas. If we're supposed to know who you are, we know. And if we don't, we don't. But that attitude goes nowhere. If, on the other hand, you come to Vegas with an attitude of friendship, and let me make something very clear about networking. Networking is extremely important, but there is a difference between being slimy and trying to network in a way where everybody just feels like you're trying to take from them, and network in a way where you are being honest and sincere and really just being yourself.
Well,
And that opens doors.
in a city with so many acts, don't be a jerk.
Right.
Good advice. Here's a question. Let's go to the audience.
Really quickly, hold on, Jeff. I will answer that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, Doug, is come to Vegas for 6 months because you'll meet and you'll be able to hang out with so many amazing people who would be glad to show you around and to introduce you to other people and to grow that community because you come. Well, first of all, you come as a known quantity to a lot of people out here.
I'm just going to be
Jeff
hanging on your
McBride knows who
coattails,
you
meeting
are.
everybody. That's my
Yep.
plan. I don't know.
But that's fine because there are so many people who would be thrilled to meet you because you bring that attitude of joy. Do I do any magic in my hypnotist act? 6 months ago, I would have told you no. I have added one trick to my show.
Do tell.
The trick that I've added to my show, and I credit McBride with this. Actually, I do two tricks. So the first trick is a napkin to dollar bill. And the reason, and in my show, I tell the hypnotized people that they think the napkins are $100 bills. And so I'm throwing those around. Now, my show is recommended 18 and over.
Well, you just have a bunch of napkins you're throwing around. People think it's all money.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
My show is recommended 18 and over. Every once in a while, somebody brings a 10-year-old.
Okay.
If they have brought a 10-year-old and the 10-year-old has made it through my show and the 10-year-old's been engaged, what I'll do is I'll bring the 10-year-old up and I'll put my hand on the kid's shoulder and I'll tell them, point at that person, say sleep, and they'll go right to sleep. And so, I let a 10-year-old kid put everybody to sleep.
Nice.
And then for doing that, and the kid gets a cute round of applause for that. I'm like, all right, now look, I can't hypnotize you because you're under 18 and we do all this weird stuff. But you want to know what the weirdest thing I do is? The kid will go, what? And I say, simple. It's when after I've done all those weird things, and then a child's parent lets me bring them on stage with me, which always gets a good laugh. And then I tell the kid, I can't hypnotize you, but I can make you think you're hypnotized. I have the kid pick up a napkin. I roll the napkin up into a ball, put the napkin in the kid's hand. I tell the kid, can you pretend for a second that the napkin looks like money? He goes, sure. So, all right, rub your hands together. He opens it up, and now it's a $1 bill. And
this is an example of some of the improv you might work into the show.
Yeah,
you might not always have the kid there.
Right. It's a fun moment. And the audience doesn't care about the trick. What the audience cares about is they watch the kid go, and so the audience just loses their mind over the kid losing their mind, which is great. But then
Right.
there's one other magic trick I do.
Oh
I
yeah,
call it
dude.
I call it 1 to 30, because then for that kid getting that $1 bill, the parents always have to buy the $30 USB afterwards so that they have their kid on video doing that. And that's a
Oh,
great
so
trick.
that's like back at the you do sell that's back a
Yes.
room is
Yep.
watch yourself get hypnotized.
Yes,
God,
exactly.
I love that.
Yep.
That's a
So
whole nother thing, like
yeah.
back a room. We got so much we could just keep going on about. I want to get a
Yep.
couple more questions here.
And
Tom
then
gave us a
wait,
whole nother
yep.
episode
Talk about
question.
writing and rewriting a routine. Why would you write and where would you rewrite and why you need a script? All right, let's start at the beginning. Personal hatred of mine. Oh, well, I don't have a script. I just do improv. Screw you. Then I'm just going to decide what I'm going to pay you after the show is over. Improv is great. Improv is important. A script is more important. A script is more important because when you're doing a show, you're going to have an awesome moment happen. What do you do after that moment? After that moment's over, I have watched so many performers. There's this great moment, and it's this great improv moment. And then they fall off the mountain because they don't know where to go. When you have a script, you know where you're going next. That's the importance of a script. The best writing is rewriting. The best rewriting is deleting.
The best
What you-
writing is rewriting.
Yep. And the best rewriting is deleting.
Edit
What
that
can I
stuff
take
down.
out? What can I take out and still get the point across? Brevity is. So how do I get it to its tightest form? What do I need to say? What do I not need to say? Plus, every few years, is what I'm saying still relevant? Or has time gone past what I'm
Dude,
saying? And I need to
like
make adjustments.
90% of magicians could use that last advice. Like
Yes.
we're so bad for doing
And
non-relevant humor.
also,
By the way, let me thank Taj here for your kind contribution, helping pay this internet bill I got, keeping these wheels on the train. Thank you, Taj.
And let me tell you this. What was funny 5 years ago may not be funny today.
Yeah.
Things change. Society changes.
But the clean hand joke's still funny. The clean hand. That's still funny.
Fielding West had something interesting to say about that joke once. Because somebody put out a video talking about all the hack jokes that magicians should never do anymore. And Fielding jumped on their asses. And Fielding, who is a great comedy magician.
Let's call him legendary. He deserves it.
Very much so. Very much. He jumped up with this attitude of F you. The only reason these jokes are hack is because you people stole them from people who honestly wrote them. I remember the person who wrote that. I remember the moment this was created.
God, that's
I remember
strong.
when this came out. It's only hack because you stole it.
Love it.
Mhm.
Woo!
And
let's get a little more information to the people because I'm going to send you out of here soon.
Wait,
all
hold
right?
on. I'm a new student of magic, trying out different schools of magic. Is there a starting point for somebody to get into hypnosis if they want to learn the craft? Yes. Learn it right. There are a lot of places. Don't just learn it off of a video. Go learn from somebody. There are multiple people doing multiple different kinds of classes. You are honestly messing with somebody's psychological factors. You want to learn how to do it safely for you and for them. You also say that you're trying out different schools of magic. Good. Try them out. Try out every school of magic. Figure out what you hate. And then figure out why you hate it. Why don't you like this? Do you not like it because it just goes against the grain of your personality? If so, don't do it.
Do you think
or do you not like it because it's too hard and you don't want to put in the work?
Would you say a mentor is the way to go for learning?
Oh, God, yes.
Everything?
God, yes.
Yeah.
A mentor. So the only reason to put somebody on a pedestal is to look up their shorts. But mentors,
but if you're into that,
a good mentor, a good guide will help steer you away from certain mistakes, and they'll let you make the mistakes you need to make. I've had a lot of mentors. My book talks about all the different mentors I've met. The mentors are fantastic. And here's the beauty. of most people that most of the people that I know, most of the amazing people that I know, if you are gracious and you are willing to listen, will gladly let you buy them lunch. And you will learn more in one lunch than you can from rereading a book a dozen times or from watching a video a dozen times. Because that lunch, they can go, oh, this book, this video, this moment. Yeah, I remember that. Have you ever considered this part of it? They're great. But and for a lot of people, you try out comedy magic and you realize comedy's not for you. You're not that person. You're
And
just not
this is a
natural
hard,
joke, and
being
that's
able to
fine.
self-edit or at least have
Yes.
someone you trust to help you with this
Yep.
decision.
Also, most importantly, so talking about rewriting, nothing's funny in committee. No great art has ever been made in committee. Pick 2 or 3 people at most. Pick 2 or 3 people who can help you write in your voice, who can help you talk in your voice. Not their voice, your voice. Pick 2 or 3 people at the most and use them as your directors and guides. There
Yes.
may be a time where you evolve past what they can help you with, and then you'll find 2 or 3 other people, but don't get the advice of a dozen people. All you'll do is water yourself down.
What
Is there
about
a lot of
this? Use
pre-show
pre-show?
work in regards to audience management in your show? None.
0.
Zero.
That's easy. Yeah.
But let me qualify that. I don't need to do pre-show. Now, it depends what you mean pre-show. If you mean, am I looking for people? Am I spotting people? Am I trying to do anything to encourage people to come up? Am I personally? No. Is anybody in my staff? No. Having said that, you came to Las Vegas. You saw my ads. You bought a ticket to my show. You walk into my venue. You see my posters everywhere. You walk into my showroom. You're watching my pre-show video. So is there pre-show work? You know what? Yeah, there is. And here's the difference. Here's my advantage that I have over a lot of people is when you're doing a show, you're walking in cold. You're the stranger in the room. So one thing I will tell you right now is if you are the stranger in the room, it is your job to ingratiate yourself into that room. Your job starts from the moment they can spot your vehicle. Ingratiate yourself. The most important pre-show work you can possibly do is go, "Hi, I'm going to be the entertainment tonight. How do you know everybody in this room? Oh, you know them through this. That's awesome. What do all of you do together? Find out. Be friendly. Treat yourself as an honored guest that nobody knows yet, but everybody wants to."
So, is there any hypnosis books that you recommend? You kind of breezed over that earlier, like maybe that's not the way to go.
This book called Hypnosis, Clinical, Social, and Theatrical Uses by E.R. Hutchinson.
Okay, then.
For me, this was the first book where it made sense. I had read other books, it didn't make sense. Rereading this now,
And we didn't speak much about this, but you also do clinical hypnosis as
yeah,
well as entertainment hypnosis, correct?
a
So,
little bit. Mostly, I will refer people to someone else who does it 40 hours a week because I'd rather you go to somebody who's doing it full time for that. This book is good. It's a good grounding. I will say that, you know what? I'm going to actually cheat and try and see if I can see the okay, copyright was 93. So this book is 30 years old. Understand we've gone past it. There is a lot of new information, a lot of better information, a lot of
that makes
stronger
sense.
information. Um, still a good start. I also recommend anything from subliminalscience.com, Dr. Richard Nongard. Nongard's a great resource. Nongard is still the guy that I call when I don't know the answer to someone for something. I mean,
All right. There's 800 other things I want to talk about. I'm going to get one more question in before we wrap this up.
gladly.
It's going to be a two-parter because I need to know
Okay.
both. Who's your
Yes.
favorite wrestler in WWE and then in AEW? With all due respect to the other brands.
Okay. So, first of all, if anybody is laughing about that question right now and you do magic, you don't understand your art form.
We're talking about professional big-time wrestling,
Hold on.
the kindred art form.
So, if I'm talking about a flamboyant guy in a flamboyant outfit going in front of an audience full of people and pretending to do something everyone knows they're not really doing, what am I talking about?
Woo!
Or am I talking about magic?
This is how I start my magic act these days.
Yep.
I'm
But
doing this on TikTok all the time.
oh
lately.
yeah.
Woo!
But what's the difference between a professional wrestler?
There's
and a
not much.
professional
I talk
magician?
about it often. You're preaching
Yeah.
to the choir
So
here, and everyone
wanna
else
make
thinks
that
we're crazy.
I want to make that really clear. If you watch wrestling, Roddy Piper said something so brilliant. He said, if I ask you, is professional wrestling real? You'll say no. But you watch Roddy Piper on TV and he pisses you off. And you go to the arena with your family and Roddy Piper's in the ring and he's shooting his mouth off and the hero comes and he punches Roddy Piper in the teeth and you start cheering. But you just said professional wrestling's fake. Here is where professional wrestling and magic intersect. As soon as you create an emotional moment, it's real.
Yep.
And that's the brilliance of a Ric Flair who could make you believe, an Arn Anderson who could make you believe, I didn't understand the Undertaker for a long time until somebody explained to me what the Undertaker's character is. The Undertaker's character, he was the cornerstone of the WWE. And as soon as I saw him from that perspective, his character was amazing. The Rock would make you believe. Stone Cold would make you believe. Kenny Omega makes you believe. Moxley makes you believe. You know, it's the professional wrestlers who make you believe, even if just for 1 second. You know, I mean, say what you want. But when Hulk Hogan would wind up that big fist and he would punch that villain, everybody would go, yeah! Over a punch you know isn't real. But he got you emotionally connected. Sting, always one of my favorites. He could get you emotionally connected into that moment.
And we're just reciting what we've said this whole stream, right?
Yes.
Character counts.
Character
Make the
is
people care.
everything. Yes.
So who's your favorite? You got one or not?
Ooh.
What about Gunther in the WWE? He's my guy, Gunther.
So, okay. There's a perfect example of somebody who makes it so believable every time.
Every time.
Sami Zayn right now.
Yeah, Sammy's killing it on the mic lately, right? Oh, baby.
Sammy has walked from being a secondary comedy act
Yep.
to becoming a viable headliner
Yep.
in a year. LA Knight.
We're not going to talk about LA Knight.
But he has figured out how to bring that character to the forefront.
No comment. What about AEW? Who's doing good work there?
AEW.
Mox for sure. Moxley's man, it was what a good move for him to move over there.
But that's just it. Is everything Mox does, you believe it.
Yeah.
I love Bryan Danielson. He can't wrestle anymore.
Yeah.
There is just a moment. There is one opponent you'll never beat, and that's time. And you know, Brian's getting fragile. You know, but my God, what a brilliant mind. They've got Jake in AEW, who
You love some
still
Jake the Snake. I saw he showed up
who's
there
oh,
recently.
yeah, oh, yeah,
You
he
used to run a wrestling experience in Las
yeah, yeah,
Vegas. Look at
yeah,
this
Jake
rabbit hole we're
yeah,
going down.
Jake, and oh my god, I got great advice from Jake about performing.
Oh, I can
Um,
imagine. He was
and it was
he was a very strong character. Still is, I'm sure, but man, he
very
was
strong, very
very
brilliant.
disliked and
Um,
oof,
actually, so he was a great heel. People love to hate him. Um, behind the scenes, the only reason he was disliked by anybody is because he was his own worst enemy, and
yeah,
everybody wanted to see Jake do better than he was doing.
yeah,
And thankfully, now that he is clean and sober, he is doing fantastic.
yeah.
But God, brilliant, brilliant mind. Even for my, my hypnosis show. So Jake's real name is Aurelian Smith, and I'm talking with Aurelian after the show, and Aurelian's like, "Oh yeah, I love this. I love this. This was great." And then you have this one moment where you're doing this, and what happens is, as you're talking to the audience, see, you're turning, and the reason you're turning is because what you want to do is you want to bring them in. And what's happening is, as he's talking about performing, he's shifting from Aurelian and becoming Jake the Snake
That's so cool.
because he's putting his mind into that moment.
What a
I mean,
treat,
this is a
man.
guy who performed for 93,000 people in the Pontiac Silverdome. That this guy's been there. He's seen it. And when he's willing to give you that advice, you listen.
Yeah,
Plus,
baby.
also, what if he's having a flashback? What if he thinks I'm Steamboat? Am I about to hit the concrete?
Have you figured out how many people you've performed for in your life?
So, if I had to figure out the amount of, I have at one point figured out I've hypnotized over 25,000 people.
25,000 hypnotisms.
Yes. As
Well,
far as people go, if I'm going to do quick math, 400, 400
it's probably
times
like 18 quadrillion. Probably.
2,000,
The general sense I'm making is that the advice that Jake Roberts gave to you, you're giving to people today, and you've performed for masses.
Yeah,
And
honestly,
it's a
I
bunch.
would have to sit there and do math, but odds are I have probably performed for about 200,000 people.
You
And
still
I
love
am
it?
thankful for
Like you going tonight
I'm
when it's
thankful for
time to go
every
do a
single one
show?
of
Will
them.
you be just crazy ready to get up there and kill it?
The moment that Bruce Buffer starts giving my intro, because
Yeah.
yes, I had a friend of mine actually have Bruce Buffer record my intro to walk out on stage.
Is that your opening, Bruce Buffer?
Yes, is Bruce Buffer
That's
is
pretty strong.
welcoming the heavyweight champion of hypnosis, Kevin Lepine.
Oh man.
Every night I hear that, and every night, I'm in a smaller showroom, so I'll have 40, 50, 60 people a night. Sometimes
Yeah.
we're sold out, and we have way more than that. Sometimes we
Yeah.
have less. Every person in that showroom didn't buy a ticket to Blue Man Group. They didn't buy a ticket to Cirque. They bought a ticket to see me. And that's everything I've ever dreamed of. I am always thankful for it. It is, there is no better word I have than gratitude for how I feel about walking through that curtain every night.
So cool.
It is. It
This
really
is,
is.
I think this is a good place to pause. And first of all, let me say thank you for coming on here and sharing your time and your wisdom.
It's my greatest pleasure. I'm glad to do it anytime.
I
I will
wanted,
make the one more plug though of Amazon. Please go buy it. Deep Into My Eyes.
yeah,
When you buy the book, if you email me at kevinlepine@gmail.com, or you can email me through hypnoseunleashed.com, show me your proof of purchase and send me your mailing address, and I will send you an autographed postcard of the cover. I will also email you my 10 my 10 self-hypnosis MP3s free.
there's your bonuses, folks. The link
Yes.
is in the description of this video. If you can't search Amazon, you can go click around. There's Kevin's Instagram and his website's down there too. Yeah, go buy the book. Why not? I did.
Yes,
It's going to be
please.
here tomorrow. If we'd have done this stream tomorrow, I could be holding mine. But, I'll talk about it.
So the funny thing is, I'm holding a proof copy because my actual books haven't come in yet
Oh,
either.
that's okay. Maybe I'll get to read it before you. I guess
Probably.
you know what's in there.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'll look forward to reviewing the book for everyone in the near future. It's obviously going to be a win.
And if for everybody watching and for everybody who watches this on repeat, I'll gladly come back on. Sh- Everybody, email Doug, message Doug, shoot off some questions. I know as soon as this is over, you're gonna go on. Oh, you know what I should have asked him? Shoot that question to Doug.
Yeah, if you're watching
Yeah.
afterwards, drop a comment and I'll make a list of questions. If you could keep
Yep.
them all wrestling centric, what I would like to aim
Even better.
for is an all wrestling episode
Yes.
where we can just do that.
The best finishing move is one that you can do in a snap at any moment. You want that flash for a finisher. But yeah, I will gladly come back on and we'll do a giant Q&A. I would love to do it.
All right, Kevin. Look, if you could hang loose backstage, I'm going to send you off of here and then say once again, thank you. And, I'm echoing the sentiments of the audience as I
Hey, Chris,
do
good to see
so.
you.
It was nice meeting you and thank you, Kevin. And I'm just going to say bye to you in just a minute. But,
Sounds good.
thanks
Thank
for
you,
hanging
brother.
out with us today. I'll see
My
you in a
greatest
second.
pleasure.
Well, y'all, how cool was that? I don't think I need to say much more, except once again, thanks to Kevin Lepine. Here's the skit on all the stuff that I planned to do today. I'm going to do a bonus stream, and we're going to do a Tricks convention recap, maybe Friday, maybe Saturday morning. Maybe I'll give the international viewers a chance to see some live streams. So maybe Saturday morning, we'll try and do a Tricks convention recap. I got some giveaways for the members. I got some new magic to show, and you can look forward to seeing that this weekend. But yeah, I'm going to go say goodbye to my friend. And thanks for everyone hanging out this afternoon. I know you had fun. I just know you did. I'll see you guys this weekend. Ciao for now.